What's up, everyone? I've been seeing a lot of comments recently in the pet sitter Facebook groups asking how to make overnights work with a team of employees. I know this is a big topic, and I know it's something that I was pretty nervous about before I transitioned my independent contractors to full employee status. So, in honor of my hiring course that's going to be coming out on June 1st, I thought I would hop on here and make a quick YouTube video talking about how to make overnights work with employees. For anyone that's new to the channel, let me start by giving you some context. I started as a solo pet sitter and dog walker 9 years ago, and I brought on my first independent contractor 11 months into the business, and I grew a pretty large team of independent contractors before eventually transitioning them to full employee status. When I started my business, I didn't know anything about anything. I had never ran a business before. I had never hired or managed anyone before. And I kind of learned everything the hard way, one day at a time. And today, 9 years later, I have a team of 24 employees. We have won multiple awards, and we have gone from having really low rates to having really high rates and working with really premium clients and offering a really premium service. So I start by saying all of that because I want you to know that I understand both sides of this. I know what it's like to have low rates and to use independent contractors, and now I know what it's like to have high rates and use trained employees. I understand both sides of this, and there are pros and cons to each different situation. So that being said, be sure to hit the subscribe button to stay up to date with my weekly content about being a full-time professional pet sitter, dog walker, and pet business owner. And let's get into how to make overnights work as employees. So, like most things in business, it really comes down to two things. One, your numbers, and two, your target audience and marketing strategy. So let's talk about the numbers first. Now, in my area in Florida, minimum wage is $11 per hour. And when I send someone to a client's home, I'm not just paying that minimum wage, I also have 7.65% in FICA taxes. I have 2.8 something percent in unemployment taxes, and then I have 3.88% in workers' compensation taxes. So that means that if I am paying someone the $11 minimum wage, it is actually costing my business almost $13 per hour to send that team member out to the client's home. Now, that being said, for your overnights, you just take that cost per hour, that labor cost per hour, and multiply it by the number of hours that your overnight will be. So just to keep the example simple here, let's say that my cost per hour is $13 and that I want to offer a 10-hour overnight. That means that just to cover my labor costs, I will need to charge $130 per night. But wait, there's more, because we cannot forget about the fact that we are losing about 3% of each transaction to credit card fees, and then we have other expenses as a business, such as our marketing cost and our supplies and our software and all of that kind of stuff. So let's say that your labor cost comes to $130 per night, and then you add on that 3% for your credit card fees, and then let's just lump in another 2% to help account for these other expenses. That means that your break-even point will be around $136 per night. And then after you've found this break-even cost, then you can ask yourself, how much profit margin do I need to make as a business to make it worth sending an employee out to do this service? Let's say, just for example, that you decide that you only need $14 in profit per night to make this service worth it. That means that your overnight should cost $150 per night. Now, things like minimum wage and how much your workers' compensation will be and how much your unemployment tax will be. All of these different things are going to vary from location to location. And some states actually don't require you to pay the full minimum wage if they are sleeping. However, Florida and most states do require you to pay the full minimum wage whether they are sleeping or not. And I will say that I am using minimum wage as an example here just to keep things simple, but of course I would always recommend that you pay your team more than minimum wage. So now I know a lot of you are sitting here thinking, my clients would never pay $150 per night. Trust me, I feel you on that. I thought the exact same thing. I mean, when I started my business 9 years ago as a solo pet sitter, I think I was charging like $35 for an overnight, simply because I didn't know any better. Like I said, I didn't know anything about anything, and I had to learn the hard way. And as we started raising our prices more and more over the years, we did lose some of our original clients that came in at those super low rates, but we replaced them with new clients that were happy to pay our higher rates. So don't be afraid to lose a couple of clients. Remember that you can and will always replace them as long as you have a good marketing strategy. And then this is where I will come back around to your target audience and that side of things. You know, when I started my business and I had those low rates, I was marketing and trying to attract just anyone with a dog, anyone that would trust me to walk their dog. And over time, especially as I started raising my rates, I realized that I had to market to the affluent communities and the true wealthy people in our area. And as I started to change my marketing tactics and my marketing styles and get really defined about who my target audience was, it became really no issue to find clients that were willing to pay these high rates. And I can tell you that my business currently offers an 8-hour overnight for $150, and additional time can be booked at $50 per hour, and we get more requests for that service at that really high rate than we can even accommodate. I also want to mention that offering overnights is kind of a pain in the ass for a business, to be completely honest, because you have to switch sitters every 2 or 3 nights to avoid them going into overtime. And if you don't keep an eye on this and make sure that your team is not going into overtime, it's going to blow those basic calculations that we just did out of the water. You're going to end up losing your profit margin, if not being in the hole, because you're going to be paying time and a half. That's how much you have to pay for overtime in Florida. With that being said, we really try to push all of our clients to drop-in visits or our almost overnight service instead of the full overnight. And I mean, the almost overnight, we started offering that a couple of years ago when we started gearing up to transition to full employee status, because we knew we were going to have to raise our prices significantly. And this almost overnight is really a great happy medium for everybody. It's 2 hours in the evening, 1 hour in the morning, so it's enough time to get all of the playtime and cuddles and love and attention that they're used to getting with the overnight stay, but we're just not sleeping there. So it's just really a win-win for everyone. And you know, most clients that contact us requesting an overnight stay don't actually need an overnight stay anyway. So we bring a lot of just client education into this about what their pets actually need. I cannot tell you how many clients I've had call me over the years and say, I need an overnight stay because my dog has never been left alone overnight before. I cannot tell you how many times I have heard that. And my response is always, well, we were never left alone the first couple of years of our life, But eventually, at some point when we were in middle school or high school, our parents decided that we were capable of being alone for a little while. And we spent our first night alone. And that may have been a little nerve-wracking at the time, and it may have taken some time to adjust. But you know what? We got used to it and we survived, and we all became better people because of it. And the same is true for our dogs. Our dogs can and should learn to be alone for periods of time. And I also just can't even count the number of times that I've had clients book an overnight, but then their dogs sleep in a different room, or the dogs sleep in a crate. And, the dogs don't know or care if we are there, if they're not even sleeping in the same room, or if they're sleeping in a crate. So that's just a perfect example of a dog that does not need an overnight stay, no matter what the client may think. We tell our clients that we reserve our overnight availability specifically for pets that have medical needs and or severe separation anxiety. I really hope this quick, brief rundown of how to use employees and do overnights has been helpful for you. And remember that I have a full hiring course for pet sitting and dog walking businesses that is going to be launching on June 1st. So stay tuned for more details on that. You can join my email newsletter at dougthedogguy.co to be the first to find out when the course launches. I'm going to be sending email updates about that, and I will put the link to my website down in the description below. If you have any questions about this, just drop a comment and I will try to reply to you as soon as I can. I'm always happy to help in any way that I can. Drop a comment down below and let me know what else you would like to see in these YouTube videos. I'm Doug the Dog Guy. That's Turkey back there, and we are reminding you to stay positive.